The dust of battle had long since settled on the fields of Zama, where the fate of the ancient world had been decided. The great Hannibal Barca, the mastermind of Carthage's defiant stand in the Second Punic War, had been forced into exile, his dreams of vengeance shattered. Rome had emerged victorious, its legions marching home in triumph, its banners waving over a subjugated Carthage. But victory did not breed mercy. Instead, it planted the seeds of something darker, a thirst for absolute dominion. The war had ended, but the conflict between Rome and Carthage was far from over. In the years following Hannibal's defeat, Carthage struggled to rebuild. The once mighty city, stripped of its military and bound by crippling treaties, focused on trade and agriculture, determined to rise from the ashes. But Rome had become a relentless juggernaut, an empire unwilling to tolerate even the shadow of its old enemy. While Carthage adhered to its humiliating agreements, Rome found new reasons to despise it. Enter Cato the Elder, a Roman senator whose hatred for Carthage knew no bounds. At every opportunity, he reminded the Senate that Carthage remained a threat, and each speech he delivered ended with the same chilling words:
Carthago delenda est, Carthage must be destroyed.
The Romans watched with growing suspicion as Carthage clawed its way back to prosperity. Meanwhile, in North Africa, the rising kingdom of Numidia, led by the ambitious King Massinissa, sought to expand at Carthage's expense. The Carthaginians, desperate and cornered, took up arms to defend themselves, a violation of their treaty with Rome, which forbade them from waging war without permission. That was all the excuse Rome needed. The Senate declared war, and the legions mobilized. This was no longer about dominance or trade. This was about survival. Rome would not rest until Carthage was wiped from the face of the earth. The final chapter of the Punic Wars was about to be written in blood and fire. Stay tuned as we unfold the last and most brutal confrontation between Rome and Carthage. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the dramatic conclusion to one of history's greatest rivalries. The Third Punic War, 149–146 BCE, the final fall of Carthage. The Senate chamber hums with tension as Cato the Elder rises to speak. His booming voice echoes through the hall as he repeats the words that have become his rallying cry: Carthago delenda est. Carthage must be destroyed. Outside, the eternal city teems with restless energy. Senators argue, soldiers prepare for war, and merchants anticipate the spoils of another Roman victory. Across the Mediterranean, Carthage stands defiant, unaware that its doom is sealed. The final chapter of the Punic Wars is about to begin. The Second Punic War had left Carthage battered and humiliated. Forced to surrender its navy, pay crippling indemnities, and cede vast territories, Carthage became a shadow of its former self. However, its people proved resilient. Over the decades, Carthage rebuilt its economy, focusing on trade and agriculture, becoming a regional power once more. Rome, now the dominant force in the Mediterranean, viewed this resurgence with suspicion. Despite Carthage adhering to the terms of its treaty, Roman politicians like Cato the Elder stirred fears of a renewed threat. Cato's relentless propaganda ensured that the Roman populace viewed Carthage not as a beaten rival but as an ever-looming danger. The final spark came when Carthage, besieged by the Numidian king Massinissa, retaliated militarily without Rome's approval. This act violated the peace treaty, giving Rome the pretext it needed. In 149 BCE, the Senate declared war. When Roman legions landed near Carthage, they presented the city with an ultimatum. The terms were harsh but manageable at first: surrender weapons and hostages, dismantle defenses, and submit fully to Roman authority. Carthage complied, hoping to avoid war. But then came the final, shocking demand: the complete evacuation of the city. Carthage's population would have to abandon their homes and relocate inland, away from the sea that had defined their civilization. This was a step too far. The Carthaginians, proud heirs of a once mighty empire, chose defiance over surrender. They declared that they would fight to the death. The Roman army, led by Consul Manius Manilius, laid siege to Carthage. The city's defenses were formidable, with towering walls and a population ready to resist. Carthage's citizens, including men, women, and children, worked tirelessly to prepare for the onslaught. Weapons were forged from household items, including swords from iron tools and shields from bronze plates. Even Carthage's navy, thought to be non-existent, was resurrected. The city's defiance astonished the Romans, who expected an easy victory. The siege dragged on for 3 years. Rome suffered repeated setbacks, including naval defeats at the hands of the Carthaginians. However, the tide turned with the arrival of Scipio Aemilianus, the adopted grandson of Scipio Africanus. Scipio Aemilianus was a seasoned general and a charismatic leader. Upon taking command in 147 BCE, he reorganized the Roman forces and tightened the noose around Carthage. His strategy combined relentless pressure with psychological warfare, starving the city into submission. One of Scipio's most significant achievements was cutting off Carthage's access to supplies. He constructed a massive mole across the harbor, trapping Carthage's navy. The Carthaginians, in a desperate act, dug a new channel and launched a surprise naval attack. While daring, the move ultimately failed. In the spring of 146 BCE, Scipio launched the final assault on Carthage. Roman soldiers stormed the city, facing fierce resistance at every turn. Carthaginian fighters battled from street to street, house to house, and even from rooftops. For 6 days, the city was engulfed in chaos. The Roman legions burned entire districts, slaughtering thousands. On the 7th day, the surviving Carthaginians retreated to the Byrsa, the city's citadel, for a final stand. Here, the horrors of war reached their peak. As the Romans breached the Byrsa, desperate Carthaginian families hurled themselves into the flames rather than face enslavement. The city's destruction was absolute. Rome's victory marked the end of Carthage. The city was razed to the ground, its walls demolished, and its land cursed and symbolically sown with salt to ensure it would never rise again. The surviving 50,000 Carthaginians were sold into slavery. The once proud empire of Carthage, a beacon of culture and commerce, was wiped from the map. For Rome, the Third Punic War was a decisive step toward empire. With Carthage gone, Rome's dominance over the Mediterranean was uncontested. Yet, the destruction of Carthage remains one of the most controversial episodes in Roman history, a testament to the price of power and the depths of human conflict. The Third Punic War was not just a military conflict. It was a clash of civilizations, ideologies, and ambitions. Carthage's fall serves as a somber reminder of the fragility of greatness and the enduring impact of human choices. Thank you for joining us on this journey into one of history's most dramatic and tragic events. If you enjoyed this summary into the Third Punic War, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more gripping tales of history. What are your thoughts on Rome's treatment of Carthage? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the past.